Clobberin time!
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
Clobberin time! Clobberonimo!
Come get some.
It's clobberin' time! Clobberonimo!
Oh, we're back. They're back. Hey, welcome, my friends, to part 2 of our B Monday doubleheader. Clobberin' Times, issue number 417, number 1,417 overall, and it is, of course, Monday Night Marks the Open Geekness, because I didn't feel like picking a topic. We had a topic earlier, a review. Maybe we'll review a comic, who knows? Let me just pull out a comic and review that sucker. Sorry about that. He's having a candy. Why not? Well, welcome, my good friends, to Clobberin' Times. Clobbers, Clobberonimos, Clobberoids, Clobberettes, Clobberooskies, and everyone else out there. The secret is to bang the rocks together. Let's do some show notes and shout outs, shall we? Again, thank you all for being here with me tonight. I want to thank the great J-Man. Had a fantastic time hanging out with him for our latest excursion onto Earth B. Checking out our boy, Big Bad Bob. And that was a lot of fun. And let's see here. The next Monday night, we'll be back to our what we do 3 Mondays out of the month on J-Man's great channel. It is, of course, our Legion of Superheroes reviews, silver to the bronze, 1958 to the end of 1989. All appearances of story appearances, of course, of my beloved Legion of Superheroes, LLL, long live the Legion. A complete chronology of the exploits of the 30th century's greatest superhero team. 3 Mondays each month, with, of course, the great Sean joining us again on Shayman's channel, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for those 3 Mondays. And of course, I'm here for the Monday Night Mark C Comics Talk after that. And then Tuesdays and Thursday nights, I'm hanging out at the great Tom Connor's channel, Midnight Edge After Dark, 6 p.m. Central, with the great August gang right there. When he has it, I'm at Dad. Damn it, listen to me. Loki. Loki's great channel on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. for the Comic Book Roundtable when it is in session. And then, of course, it's me. Wednesday nights, the big wild card show. Wild card Wednesday nights. And it will be wild. And might even involve cards. Who knows? Maybe will be cards. And of course, Thursday night's the Clubhouse with my most wonderful first officer, Raquel, Commander R.M. Briggs, and the great chief engineer himself, Mark D with a C, with our Blake 7-episode reviews and reviews of Star Trek comics. Cannot wait. Looking forward to that, of course. And then it's back over to J-Man's channel. Friday night, Frank Free for All. That's right. Just started last week. We got a long journey ahead of us reviewing all of the classic Frank Miller Daredevil run. And we do something like about 3 issues a week, and all in, of course, in chronological order. J-Man's great channel. Again, it's 7 p.m. Eastern, Friday nights, joined by our good buddy, the great Sean. After that, on Friday nights, I hang out with Mr. 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser's himself, the Friday Night Comic Shop Boys, 8:30 Central. All kinds of fun comics talk, sometimes topics, once in a while an open stream. Just depends on what's going on. They're a good group of lads, and it's always cool hanging out with them. So please come see us. There's, of course, not only Nick, there's our good buddy Pablo, with him all the time for every show. Our buddy Fenrir and Ironcaster. So, and the Common Nerd fun group. And then Saturday night Star Trek, Save Trek Time, Save Trek Channel. That's all of my shows, all of my 4 shows that are here on this channel, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And continuing our ongoing mission of reviewing all of Real Trek, 66 through 05, 735 Club. 4 more episodes of Star Trek Voyager. What a great crowd we have on Saturday nights if you're a Trek fan of any kind, or just like a fun chat, just really banging it out there. Stop by and hang out with us. And well, let's see who's here with us tonight. First, let's shout out our wrenchers. The great Eric K, bronze wrencher, of course. The Vindicator wrencher, the great White North, Chris Persia. D-Bud Martin, the wrencher of iron. Lord Thoth, shout out to user Avon, this long live the Legion. The aforementioned great J-Man, my partner in crime on Earth B. And Legionnaire extraordinaire and Frank reviewer also. Maddie's daddy, the fielder of HBO near Thor in Vegas. Good hanging out with you last night on the great Mark D with the C's channel, buddy. Oh, and then of course I forgot Sunday nights. It's always back to the Sunday Night Geekery. We had a great time last night. Sunday Night Geekery on Mark D's great channel, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I forget things. You know how that goes. Stephen Kal-El, buddy. The Super Wrench. The Rascally Wrench himself, anti-outsidery. Hungry Boy, master of the Clobberin. And Clobberin Time Zone, Music Meister Maximum Redstone. All right. Let's see who's with us in the chat also. FKH C2005. Hike, what's up, buddy? Good to see you there. I'd have to think about it. I don't know who would win on the Thanos and Darkseid in a fist fight. I almost want to bet on Thanos on that one, but I don't know. I like Darkseid better, so maybe I'll vote for him. Dave C, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Gwagnar! Gwag, what's up, partner? Gemalema. Larry. Hello again, Penny. Lovely to see you, my dear. Shooter. All right, brother. What's up, buddy? Claude Salling. Hey. Good to see you, my friend. I never know if it's Salling or Sailing or Selling, but it's Salling. Either way, Claude. Always good to see you, buddy. Picasso. What's up? Ravenscroft. Hello again. And anyone else who pops in will be shouted it out accordingly. Yeah. Thank you, anyone who happens to be lurking. We love our lurkers. I don't sell them out enough, but I will. I try to remember. Anyone watching on a download or rewatch, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Yeah, what fun we had. J-Man and myself earlier reviewing that comic. Reviewing comics is fun, especially Bob Haney comics. Oh man, yeah, I used to enjoy. I guess somber time of year because we're getting close to it, but used to enjoy reviewing comics with my good buddy Mark C. He loved comics and was an excellent artist. You know, I have not yet. Ravenscroft, I'm sorry. Yeah, Larry, you are a newbie wrench, aren't you? But that's right. You're a wrench nonetheless, and we're glad to have you. I can't figure out, I don't know what characters. In fact, I need you to tell me, Larry, what characters you like. I know what, characters some people like, but I'm not sure about everyone else's. I know I think you like Star Trek, of course. I don't know. Do you have any favorite comments or anything like that? RRTNZ, hello, hello, hello. Ravenscroft, FF. I actually have come up with a new method. I don't trust my memory anymore. And now I've written it down. I've got sticky notes now. Oh, yeah. RR. That was weird. I will reread FF116. I'm so sorry about that. Overmind and Doom? What's your question? Is it who would win out of Overmind and Doom? Hell, Clobby, just dropping by. Wasn't that Machine Man coincidence weird? It was weird, yeah. I asked what you think about it, and DC suddenly decides it's cool again to claim ownership from Marvel. Stranger than fiction, yeah. Yeah, that is the Overmind issue 116. Yeah. No, but see, Ravenscroft, I'm so glad you reminded me because if I don't write something down these days, my memory's trash. So let's pull up that article you sent. Let's see. RR. Take a closer look at it because I only got to see it for a minute. All right, let me take a look here. Let me take a closer look because I didn't get to read all of it. All right. DC Comics have told Marvel that they own Machine Man. The other night, for some reason, I was talking about Machine Man, the in this case the '80s miniseries with Barry Windsor-Smith art on it. RR mentioned Machine Man. RR had mentioned that miniseries, and then he found this article for me, which, like you said, is very strange. Coinky dink. Oh no, I got you, Ravenscroft. I've written it down now. So, that makes sense. Rocky and Bullwinkle. You're right. I should look at avatars more often, Larry. I'm a dope. Good point. Okay, let's see. I'm an idiot. I'm an imbecile. Oh, I'm an absolute dummy. Oh, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. All right. DC Comics have told Marvel they own Machine Man. Earlier this week, we looked at when DC Comics released Warner Brothers owned lots of intellectual property they could turn into comics. earlier this week, Bleeding Cool took a look at when DC Comics realized that Warner Brothers owned lots of intellectual property that they could turn into comic books, even though they didn't do a lot of it. But we got Mad Max, Hanna-Barbera, Lost Boys, Django Unchained, comic books out of it. Just no Dirty Harry, Goonies, or Mortal Kombat. But I did discover that as part of the journey, DC Comics decided that they owned Marvel's Machine Man character. All because he began as X-51, a character in the Jack Kirby adaptation and continuation of the Stanley Kubrick movie 2001, A Space Odyssey, published by Marvel in the 70s. And because Warner Brothers owns that movie, they also own the comic book and the continuing series. These are the series, of course. I also understand that DC Comics has now informed Marvel that they believe that they own Machine Man, and future publication may entail some elaboration, maneuvers in the copyright indicia on Marvel's part in order to comply with various copyright and trademark requirements. And also, DC Comics might just reprint the 2001 adaptation by Jack Kirby if they feel so minded. I wonder who told them about that, Rich. Jack Kirby wrote and penciled both adaptation of 2001 to Space Odyssey and the 10-issue series, which followed the 1976. And that's incorrect, Rich. Let me see something, if I may call you Rich. Kirby did leave that book, but it was more than 10 issues, I believe. It might have been 10 issues. I can't really remember. But he didn't do every issue of it, though. All right. That's right. It was 19 issues. Okay. Look, jerkweed. Rich Johnson is a... all right. Jack Kirby wrote and penciled both the adaptation to and the 10-issue series which followed. It was 19 issues, stupid. And the project was a part of the agreement of Kirby's return to Marvel after working for DC Comics in the Fourth World titles. Kirby incorporated additional dialogue to the adaptation of the Arthur C. Clarke novel and an earlier draft of the screenplay. In issue number 8, Kirby introduces Mr. Machine, the robot X-51, who gains sentience and, thanks to an encounter with a monolith, takes the name Aaron Stack and tries to hide amongst humanity when 2001 Space Odyssey would soon come to an end. But the character was given his own series shortly after, reportedly renamed Machine Man, due to a naming conflict with an Ideal Toys robot named Mr. Machine. Subsequently, the character would, what's that supposed to? Weird. Would then appear in the likes of Thor, Iron Man, Machine Man 2020, Next Wave, Agents of Hate, Next Wave, and the Iron Man 2020 event. Yeah. But hey, with Warner's and DC saying just what they say about any blah, 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 okay, screw off. Rich Johnson is I'm not saying it. All right. Let's talk about this a little bit. Sorry about noise problem. Hang on. I'm sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Here's my thing, buddies. I in a sense, it is kind of Both companies are despicable, Marvel and DC. So when they stick it to each other, it's kind of funny. And I laugh when they stick it to each other sometimes, I guess, because they've already stuck it to the creators that they've stolen from. But here's what's kind of mildly amusing about this. For me, anyway. Sorry, one had some water. Sorry about that. Hydrating a little bit. Hydrating. I'm sorry, buddies. Okay. Excuse me. My apologies. Here's what's amusing about this to me. First, number one, I wonder who told DC about this. Or Warner. Nobody at Warner. Okay, don't guarantee anything. I'm highly confident there ain't nobody at Warner or DC that knows who the hell Jack Kirby is or Machine Man is. Hey, Bud Martin, what's up, buddy? Nobody, and I mean nobody at Warner, or Disney, for that matter, knows who Machine Man is. Okay, but since we do know about Machine Man, who in their right mind would say Machine Man is some big, sought after, lucrative property that can make that if Warner Brothers steals it away from Marvel because of 2001, what makes them think anyone gives a shit? What makes them think that's a big property? It's not like you found a loophole to steal Captain America or Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like if DC felt like and Warner found some kind of crazy loophole where they can steal like a big character from like Iron Man or something, that's a big story. I mean, we all know what happened. I'm just using it as an example, like a big character. But if they found some crazy loophole to steal them, that they might be able to swipe an obscure character that nobody knows, like Machine Man. So what? I mean, what good is it going to do? They're not going to make a movie about that. And they're not going to make a comic about it either. I mean, but they could do it just to stick it to Marvel. And they will, probably. It's not going to be a Machine Man. I like Machine Man just fine, by the way. You know, first of all, I really do. Rich Johnson's such a moron. He said he called 10-issue comic. No, Kirby did about 10 issues, but it was a 19-issue comic. Ditko did it after him. So do your stupid research, dummy. Don't do your stupid research. You clearly do it stupidly. So the full run says, and the miniseries says D-Bud. Yeah, point is, you know it, D-Bud. Yeah. But nobody, let's just be honest. If Warner found that little loophole to be able to steal Machine Man, what would it get? What good would it be? Nobody cares about the big names anymore. They're not even superhero movies are. It would be just. But still, I would like to know who told Warner, hey, there's this character. It came, those 2001 movies? The ones with the music in it and the classic music. And, I've fallen asleep to those plenty of times. Yeah, 2001. Well, there's a character that was put in a comic book from that Marvel had, but we own the movie, so maybe we could claim the character of Machine Man. So what? You think you're gonna make the next Iron Man out of Machine Man? Go knock yourself out, and they probably will. You see what I mean? Like, I'm not dissing Machine Man. I like the Machine Man just fine. Son Lee. Watch Well High. Yeah, a lot of people watched it Well High. Especially back when it came out in the 60s. Is it worth going to court over Shooter? No. It's like, I'm just saying, again, from 2 points, I'm approaching this story. One, I'm like, I wonder who the hell told them this. Who went and stirred up? Was it, hey, Rich Johnson? Was it you? Rich Johnson, did you go call one of your buddies at Warner? If you have any, I don't know. And said, I was, because Rich Johnson, I don't know if he doesn't seem to know anything about Machine Man much either, but I guess he knew enough that Kirby created him and Kirby did the 2000. I don't know what Rich Johnson knows about comics. It never really seems to be a lot, but yeah, he does. Maybe he does. In other words, he's someone I can see knowing about it and where he came from. And then he would, but none of the brass at Warner or even the idiots that work for stupid DC Comics right now. Hell, none of the idiots at Marvel, no one knows who. I guarantee you, at Marvel, the Marvel offices is comics right now. Outside of Tom Brevoort and maybe a few other old-time geeks, none of those people know who Machine Man is. When was the last time Machine Man's been in a comic, or have they been using him? Not to my knowledge lately, but agreed, D-Bud. I mean, I did kind of like the Barry Windsor-Smith art, inking Trimpy on that comic. Well, good night, Penny. You have a great night, my dear. Hope you sleep well and be well and rest well. Good night. Good night, Penny. Good night, Penny. You see where I'm coming from? I'm just, again, the story's not offensive or anything. It's just silly. It's like, it's Machine Man. This sort of reminds me of that all that crap when what was it? DC those years ago announced that we're going to do a New Gods movie. And a week later, Marvel's coming out. We're going to do the Eternals. John Shaggy Rubens. What's up, buddy? So Marvel came out. We're going to do that. Kevin Feige. I know when he heard it, because Kevin Feige doesn't know shit about comics. So, but I guarantee you, when that was back when they were in the announcing business. Marvel and DC were having announcing wars for movies because comic movies were big at that point, and so they announced a new one. And monkey see, monkey do with those companies. One of them, Warner or Marvel Studios, would announce some new movie. DC, whatever, and the other one would have to announce one. And so they actually hired a director, and for a New Gods movie. I forget the woman's name, but much like it was the same MO type of hire. She knew nothing about comics. She'd never read the comics. She didn't have any experience, anything to do with comic books. But she was the perfect choice. These people never learn. They've been doing that forever. So that was the big deal. New Gods by Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby's Fourth World New Gods. A movie. So what happens? I can see. I've talked about this before. Kevin Feige face is going, hey, didn't Jack Kirby? Where have I seen that name before? He's the guy that created all the characters and making money off of Jack Hole. Oh, yeah. But I thought that was Stan. No, Stan's just the guy that takes the credit for it. The guy who created it all is Jack. Oh, yeah. The one that have that lawsuit going on with. Yeah. Hey, but DC just announced. What do we got like that? We got anything like that? The guy did that for DC. What did he do for Marvel that I can use? Well, you've already done some shitty Inhumans, so you can't really do that now. Keely Chow, roll tide. He made those on Humans? Yeah, Inhumans, stupid. Whoa, do we have anything like those Noogle gods or whatever that he made? Well, as a matter of fact, I don't know. So he goes to the comic shop, and these comic geeks probably think it's so cool that Kevin Feige comes into their store, and he tells, did you know that DC announced Jack Kirby's New Gods? Yeah, we saw that on the internet. Whoa. did he do anything like that for Marvel? And a lot of people would say, if they're knowledgeable at all, would say, I mean, not entirely, but he did later leave DC to go, but to do something that was in some ways slightly resemblant in some fashion. It's called the Eternals that he did for a while. Well, let me see that. They showed him some issues of Eternals from the dollar box. And he's like, is this like the new guys? And some guy geek said, yeah, I guess so. Same guy did it. By the way, I'm not dissing Eternals. I like Kirby's Eternals. It's not as New Gods. It's not in the class with this Fourth World. But so this dipshit says, well, oh, we're gonna do Jack Kirby's Eternals. And he hires, much like the DC idiots, he hires a dumb that knows nothing about comics. And I had to admit, I didn't think either would get made for a long time. And when it turned out that the Eternals went into production, I still didn't believe it. I'm like, they're not going to make an Eternals movie. They're not going to make an Eternals movie. They're not going to make a New Gods movie, are they? Well, they were making it. They started making the. What did it take them like? It seemed like it took them like 10 years to make this son of a bitch. I don't know how long it took them. It took them a while. So in the meantime, DC drops their stupid New God. Hey, smartest thing DC ever did, dropping their dumb New Gods movie, because it would have been awful. RT and Z says, "Our machine man, Clobby. That's how lawyers think. Yeah, my client is owed something. I have to claim it, even if the value isn't much, because the I can bill it for it or whatever. I know this used to be a lawyer. No, I hear it, and I understand you, and I take your word for that. That is the way they think. But I'm more concerned with. I wonder who told anybody about this. Certainly, I mean, obviously, it's not outside the realm of possibility that somebody works for one of those companies that actually knows some things about comics. But let's face it, you got to be something. You've got to be something of a comic book geek to A, know about Machine Man, to B, know about Jack Kirby creating him and Jack Kirby starting him off in a 2001 comic. For all those things to fall in line, anyone who knows that is something of a comic book geek and knows quite a bit, and it's old enough. So that information to leak into the brain of some, corporate goon or corporate suit had to come from somewhere. Not that someone who's a corporate suit can't be a comic book geek too. I'm sure they have them. But in other words, the info that got to that lawyer, RT, just interests me how it got there. Again, just for the fun of it. I'm just not really, reinventing the wheel here. Just curious. It's just a curiosity of mine. The chances of any dollar box comics having been bagged and boarded by our very own Clobberin. Oh yeah, you heard me earlier. Yes, Sonley. I was telling J-Man that story earlier. I was at a con this weekend in New Orleans, and they didn't have a lot of tables with comics, but ran across one table and they had a bunch of boxes. They were very old, beat up boxes, and had a bunch of random comics, most of it from the 90s. And I recognized the boxes. I recognized even the comics in the sense that, the way they were grouped together, and they were out of order, of course, but they were. And I just remember, handling these boxes in the early 90s, working for a friend of mine's comic shop. This is after I did not have mine anymore, but he's the one, we'd known each other for a long time. He'd helped me start my comic at a shop that I had in the 80s. I've been a customer, then a friend of his for a long time, that I ran his shop, helped him run his shop for him, ran his shop for him, that kind of thing in the 90s. And so I'm just looking at these boxes and going, holy shite. I put these boxes, I think I put all these comics in these boxes. I remember when we were putting them all in these boxes, and they were supposed to be in random order because they were the cheap boxes. They're still dollar boxes now. Zachariah, what's up, my friend? They were the dollar boxes, cheap boxes. So, you got to mix them up so people can look at them. And but yeah, it was a weird. Not the first time this has happened to me, but it's the first time it's happened in a while. So those the comics go somewhere. People sell their collections. They sell stock from shops, and I guess he must have sold a bunch of his older stuff, or I don't know. May have come from his shop. The shop has changed hands a few times. So anyway, I was just curious. I wonder who told them about Machine Man and why. But this is a different time for when they announced those stupid Eternals or New God movies and stuff. And that's, thankful for small mercies, by the way. If only they had showed the good sense not to make Eternals the same way. I don't know why New Gods got canceled, but I'm so glad it did. Oh, you're saying that article's a year old there, Jama Lama? Well, either way, it's pretty silly stuff. I mean, yeah, look, nobody's gonna. Again, I like Machine Man just fine. Nobody's gonna sell Machine Man. It ain't gonna happen. So, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Elliot Page is in talks to join Marvel, and we speculate as Machine Man. What? What? All right, let me see this. Elliot Page is in talks to join Marvel, and we speculate as Machine Man. Okay. Oh man, is Inspector Gadget a ripoff of Machine Man? By the way, I'm just asking. Inspector Magic. But you know what? We shouldn't diss Machine Man. We should make fun of him. In fact, we should show his comic. It's just for chits and gigglers. We should show the stream Machine Man. Number 1. Yeah, I think I've shown this before. He says, yes, Inspector Gadget is a ripoff of Machine Man. I always thought so. Oh, it could be. I'm not, yeah, I mean, I guess I was sort of serious. I thought Kirby did some crazy good stuff on this one. Machine Man. This is the story of X-51, a thinking computer in the form of a man. As Aaron Stack, he tries to find a place in a world that's not quite ready for his kind, but will he find it as friend, foe, or the greatest hero of them all? Stanley definitely does not present the adventures of the robot with a soul. Edited, written, drawn, of course, and created by, Jack King Kirby. Lettered and inked by Mike Royer. Cool deal. Colored by Petra G and enjoyed by Archie G, the great Archie Goodwin. I've been doing a lot of I don't know if you call it deep dive, but certainly a lot of I've studied Kirby on and off. I mean, just things that are going on in his life, things that have happened behind the scenes in his work environments, and just the whole who did what stuff, all that stuff. It's just always interested me about Kirby. And some of the stuff, every now and then I pick up tidbits here and there and info that I didn't know or had not read, or certainly been a while if I haven't read it. And do you know there are a lot of the little at Marvel at this point? This is what year was this? This is 1978. He was the king of comics already. Yeah, he'd done it all. But there were a lot of little shithead writers at Marvel and editorial staff that hated that Kirby had come back, and they hated it. They were mad at him. They were mad because they didn't have to. They weren't the superstars anymore, and they were real jackasses to him. It's hard to believe, isn't it? But they pulled a lot of dirty, underhanded shit. And as much as I don't like Stan was glad to have Kirby back. And Kirby had a deal, and Kirby, when he had problems, he had to go to Stan sometimes and say, just get them off my back. Except for, of course, one of the good guys. Archie Goodman was one of the good guys. So think about it. Some of those punk writers treated like guys I grew up liking their work, even, acted like total dickwads to Kirby. Jealous little twits. I don't like that. And another reason I don't like hearing it is some of them are writers I kind of liked. And of course, I've also been delving into info and lore about the Great Art Heist. And the more I read about the Great Art Heist, the less respect I have for certain people. Of the Great Art Heist of '69, I believe it is. And the more I read about that, I'm like, man, there's so much of comic history that's coming out right now, because we're getting to that, we're at that stage where more and more people who lived and worked like for Marvel and stuff at the time, in the Silver Age, even in the Bronze Age, are passing. Info has a way of getting out there, and obviously you weren't there, so you got to take some of it with a grain of salt. In a sense, Shooter, yeah, some of these writers, but a lot of it was ego. If you look at the writing style of a lot of them, they try to write. They're not like some of the writers like Kirby and other writers who learned, from reading dime novels or pulps, but also reading a lot of classic literature. They all want to write the same kind of stupid dialogue Stan did, and and some of them were good writers who, when you read them today, they're kind of cringy. I would have taken Kirby's art and given it back to him, says Larry. So would I, buddy. So would I. But I can't even really go into the art heist here. I won't even. It's something. It's so uncomfortable. And quite frankly, there are too many people that are still. There's some who are still alive, and some that would be besmirched by it, and that some of it would just somewhat unfounded. It would be really. I can't talk about it here right now because, again, it would need to be someone who has more of the facts. I wouldn't talk about something that's incomplete, but I am reading up on it as much as I can, trying to get, and again, the little time I get, trying to inform myself as much as I can, because up until just a year or so ago, I didn't know much about the Great Art Heist of '69, and over the past year or so, I've been trying to inform myself on it. It will come out in the comics press at some point, I think. When it does, holy God. I mean, I don't know, though. There's some people that are still with us who are accused of it. I'm not going to even, I don't feel comfortable talking about it. Other than that, I'm saying it, and some of you have heard about it will know where I'm coming from. Those who won't, who haven't, it's kind of something I would have to. It's just something that, maybe I would have to talk to. Like it's more of a behind the scenes type thing, because it's really scary. It's really, it's such a shame. All I can basically tell you is a whole lot of original art And you all know, those of your comics fans know what original art is. Hey, Linrod, good to see you, Linrod. A whole lot of original art at a con in a certain part of Middle America in 1969 at a con now in a hotel room that had been taken from both Marvel and DC by a lot of certain artists without permission. Let's just say a lot of it was auctioned off, sold off in a hotel room in a con in 1969. And I mean a lot of it by a big name artist. I'm not clearly not even just the King. I'll leave it at that. And so, yeah, and a lot of people involved in it. I mean, just but then again, a lot of this I'm reading about coming from fairly what I consider believable, credible sources, but that's it. So that's why I don't say names or anything like that. I mean, because what do I know? I wasn't there. Even though, so you know how sometimes you read about these things and they're fascinating and they're interesting, but you weren't there, and it's just interesting, and that's all it can be. It can never be, at least for right now, nothing has been proven. You know, you read a lot of hearsay, a lot of people saying, I was there, and I read a lot of eyewitness accounts, but still, it's not. You just don't know. I mean, you're taking their word for it. That's why I don't just blurt out who is accused of doing what. But a lot of them are names I grew up liking as a kid. Their work and stuff. That's writers. And there have been a lot. Particularly, one thing I can say is there are a lot of interests. There are a lot of artists over the years who would be at a con and somebody would walk up to them with a piece of their original art and ask them to sign it. And he'd be like, "Where'd you get this?" The artist would be. That art is supposed to belong. He said that was stolen. I mean, basically, a lot of them said, "Well, that was stolen from me." Now, that fans don't understand that. A lot of them don't know it. Well, the person who stole it knew it, but they sell that art off to people all over the place. And then how would you like to be one of these comic artists? You bust your ass, you draw a comic, you don't get your art back for you to sell it to somebody, make money, and it's gone. And then 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years later or whatever, some fan brings it up to you and wants you to sign it. Even if the fan's not guilty, the fan just bought it. The fan should know better at some point, but now we know better. But imagine, man, that's happened a lot. Happened a lot. And I used to wonder why. How'd they get this art? It's not, and by the way, some of it is when Marvel let a bunch of people raid Marvel, and let a bunch of warehouses get raided. Yeah, Limrod, it is hard to know if it's original art sometimes. Yeah. I mean, but I only have 2 pieces from my life. I've only ever, because I've decided never know what to buy and what you can't buy, because unless you buy it from the original artist. I mean, I bought 2 pieces from Jack Kirby in 1986, and then I bought one in the 80s or early 2000s from Julius Schwartz, which was a Kurt Schaffenberger page on the Superboy comic. Well, I knew he was the editor on that book, so I trusted Julius Schwartz having that page. Although I would have preferred to buy it from Kurt Schaffenberger, I trust Julius Schwartz. But when I see original art at cons, or when I would, of course, I can't really always afford it anyway. But even if I could afford it, and it's not being sold by the guy who drew it, I don't want it. I don't know how because anybody who got that, I don't know how they got it. A lot of artists were giving their art back, but the ones that weren't, that was stolen. And so let's say if a guy's selling it at a con and he's not the original artist, am I to believe he bought it from the original artist and he's selling it for that? I don't think so. I think he got it cheap. It's hard to believe because and heritage auctions is also full of a lot of stolen art, probably, possibly. So I don't want to say stuff like that, but but I've heard that. So what are we reading tonight, says Linrod? Well, we were talking about Machine Man a little bit. I was just showing for shites and giggles. So, hey, Rhys Johnson, there are not 10 issues of Machine Man. There are 19. But only Kirby did. Did Kirby just do the first 10, right? No, Ditko did number 10. Kirby's last issue was 8, I think, or 9. 9. Kirby didn't do the cover of this one. That's a Frank Miller cover. I mean, it's a Bob Layton cover. Oh, I mean, aren't inking Kirby, my bad. Miller did a different cover. Look at that. That's Bob Layton inking Jack Kirby. Man, he overpowered the hell out of Jack. Actually, Bob, come to think of it, Bob Layton showed that cover on Twit the other day. It went from Kirby to Ditko. Yeah. That's not too shabby. I remember, I think I did buy this one. Of course, this cover's a British cover for some reason. 12p on it. What the frick? I guess they were exporting some of those. But full Ditko art on it. Let's see who did how many did Ditko do? Yeah, this is a British cover for some reason. There you go. There's a Frank Miller cover. Terry Austin inks. Look at that. Ditko. Yeah, Miller was making some money on some covers. The Brit cover, there, Linrod, was it was the same art as the American cover. They just had a different price on there. Who did that Brent cover? Let's see. Ditko actually did the cover. Oh my goodness. If it was true, even though Spidey had some, was in on the creation of, Kirby was in the creation of on Spidey. Hey, CLS Studio. Good to see you. Well, I can't stay. Well, I understand, but it's good to see you. God bless you. Oh, you got a double cover? I got a couple of double covers in my day. Those were fun. Yeah, I got a couple of double covers back then. I think I got a triple one time. If I'm not mistaken, either I or a friend of mine got a triple once. But I would just say it, if it's true, when people say Kirby shouldn't draw Spidey, he wasn't right for Spidey, even though he did have something to do with his creation. Then if that's going to be the case, Ditko really should never draw the FF. Two could play at that game. Look, Ditko was not at his best at this point. I don't think he was just he was, bless him, he was getting paid. Yeah, nice cover. I love the power of a Jack cover. A Jack, big old Jack spread right there. There you go. Yes. So, yeah, what are you going to do? I should go back to reviewing Defenders comics. I'm going to start that back next week, I think. I think I should start back reviewing Defenders and reviewing more comics. Gonna do every year. I say I want to review this comic. I want to review that. We've got some reviews done. There's no question about it. Between me and J-Man and Nick on his channel as well, we've gotten some cool stuff reviewed. If you think about it, in the year 2023, between Nick and J-Man and myself, we reviewed the Starlin's Adam Warlock run, Kirby's Fourth World Saga, and a bunch of other stuff. But there's so much more I've been planning to review that I reviewed a few some Defenders, but I need to review more. Good night, CLS. Comic book covers are our art appreciation culture. Yes, I could not agree more. I love me a great comic book cover. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, of course, 2001. That's weird. That's really weird. That's too weird. Where are you? I don't understand. Out of there. Weird, wild stuff's going on. Sorry about that. There we go. Legion of Superheroes. What about them, Larry? So Legion, that's true. Legion, you're right. What am I saying? RDZ says, what I love about your channel, Globby, is the depth of knowledge and passion for classic comics. Well, thank you. You're too kind, buddy. A tiny bit of possibly fake news about the Machine Man has turned into, a historical journey into Kirby. Well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Also, how about a review of Dreadstar, or are you all Starland out? No, a Dreadstar was a good possibility. Here's Johnny. That's true, though, Larry. I've been reviewing Legion on J-Man's channel as well. That's right. And some other stuff. I just can't remember it all right now. But RR, that's a good point. I like Dreadstar. I mean, it's been a while. That's definitely going to happen one of these days. I think I was talking to my last time I was talking about that was with my boy Jason Sandberg, of course, of Jupiter fame. He has the comic Jupiter that had a crowdfunded book that came out this past summer, and he's working on a second one. He's a big Starland fan. He likes the Dreadstar. Dreadstar would be a good possibility. In fact, that's the thing. That's something interesting to talk about tonight. What would be? We're just bouncing them off of each other. We're not making any kind of big commitments tonight. But what are some of the? It could be smaller books, or some of the sagas that you would like to cover. You would like to see reviews of it. Now we do have our hands full because we're gonna do all of Legion. Well, silver through bronze. There might be a few things after it I might do. As far as Legion is concerned, we're going to do all of the Miller Daredevil run. We're committed on that. Who knows how long that's going to take? It'll take longer than the Fourth World did. I think maybe. Ezra Goldstein, shalom, my friend. Good to see you. So, Kraven the Hunter from the 80s. You talking about that Kraven sort of that miniseries in Spider-Man, called what was that called again? The Hunt, or what was that thing called? I think I know what you're talking about, but what was the name of I can't remember the name of the series. It was in the Spider-Man titles. The Clone Saga. I'm glad you're joking, Shooter. Yeah, it was something. The Hunt. What was the name of that one? Suddenly, give me the name again. I read it way back when. Yeah, it was 6-issue crossover. That's right. I'm just trying to remember. It had a name. It was something. The Hunt. Craven's Last Hunt. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Shooter. That's right. That was pretty good. Oh, let's see. Things we've done before, other than those, but they're not necessarily this past year. Mark D and I did the first Hercules miniseries. We've done Fantastic Four 51. We've done Marvel 2-in-1 Annual number 7. Mark D and Lord Thoth and I, we did the Wolverine miniseries. The first one, the Claremont Miller Rubenstein one. Oliver Belamonte, hello there. Jay Mine and I have done Kingdom Come. We've done Batman Hulk. I think my buddy Ace Caston and I did Superman Spider-Man. The first one. Team up. We need to do that second one. I need to talk to him about that. I'm going to contact him and see if he wants to do that. Okay, we're starting the year off. I've been promising to do Watchmen for a long time. I might wait till the end of the year, latter half of the year. What do you all say? What do you think Watchmen would be one anyone cares about anymore to have it done? I am the ultimate Watchmen expert. I don't like to brag. So I'm kidding. And I got a buddy of mine that my buddy Carlos is the only one that I would do Watchmen with. Yeah, I wonder if there's any demand for us to do Watchmen. Maybe that ship has sailed. I don't know. It was one of the biggest comics ever for a while. My RR says, interesting contrast, Miller versus Starlin. Miller is best at intense, character-driven street-level stories, whereas Starlin is best at grand space opera stories. A master of sagas and tediousness, sir. Squadron Supreme and then Watchmen. So, the Mark Grunwald miniseries. I am the expert because I say so. That's right, Larry. I'm not an expert on anything. I was kidding. I'd watch it. I have the Watchmen from the original thing. Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, cool, son. I'm thinking about doing Watchmen. I really want to do. I want to do Astro City, but nobody cares about that but me. So. I might do. Oh, by the way, tomorrow night, my buddy, J-Man is doing Dazzler. First 4 issues. Just because I was teasing him about Dazzler, they're really doing. I don't know if that's why he's doing it, but oh man. Oh, Limrod. Oh, that's cool. Never read Watchmen. Yeah. I mean, it's very much a product of its time. At the time, we were blown away by it. We just were. I don't like to say it's the kind of thing you had to be there, but it might be that kind of thing. I don't know if someone today would get the same out of it we did in 1985, actually 1986 and beyond. Lee says, I remember Dazzler from the 80s, just before the Marvel New Universe, or was she part of? No, she was not part of the New Universe. She was definitely a good few years before that. The New Universe was Jim Shooter's little debacle of the mid 80s. Yeah, it didn't do too well, did it, Jimbo? I liked Jim Shooter, and I also have problems with Jim Shooter, but yeah. You're doing Grunwald's Squadron Stream. Count me in. That book is decades ahead of its time. A great story, very unsettling in parts, especially for the Marvel. I haven't decided it that I would do it, but if more people are interested in it, I might do it. See, that's the kind of thing you could get. You could probably, knock out in one night. A 12-issue, maxi series, a 4, 5, 6-issue miniseries here and there. You could knock that out in one night, pretty much. The Warlock saga, the Starlin Warlock run that we did on Nick's channel, I think we maybe went like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. When we did Nova, the 12 issues plus Spidey issue of Nova, the gang, we did that in, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 weeks. Also on Nick's channel, when he and the gang did a lot of Ditko Spider-Man. I didn't get to show up for all of it, but D-Bud was there, and that took weeks, didn't it, D-Bud? When you all did Ditko, the Condor. R says that. As for Watchmen, I remember where I was in 1986 when I read the words, "I did it 35 minutes ago." Yep. You kind of had to understand the Cold War in order to get it full effect. Yep. In fact, that was actually 1987 by then, because the book took forever to come out, but yeah. And that was in issue 12, of course. Ozymandias. Do it. Dan, I'm not a Republic serial villain. I don't. Do you think I would explain my master stroke to you if there were any chance of you affecting its outcome? I did it 35 minutes ago. So you did. There we go. We did Amazing Spider-Man 1 through 20, then 21 through 40. It took 5 weeks for each. Yeah. Yep. That's quite a lot, especially when you have a bunch of people doing it. Yeah. I was a senior in college with when Watchmen hit. Just blew me away. I was I remember. I'll never forget. Of course, I was already like loving Alan Moore's Swamp Thing and some of his other superhero stuff he'd been doing at DC, and even I was also picking up some of his old 2000 AD, or at that point his older 2000 AD stuff, Raven. And then a buddy of mine at the comic shop, they had this like videotape that we're passing around. DC was like passing it around to comic shops with an interview with Alan Moore, maybe like a 20-minute thing or whatever. And he was talking about Watchmen. This is in '85. So it was a year before the thing came out. I looked forward to it for a solid year. He talked about other stuff, but he talked about Watchmen, and I was really excited about it. And Alan Moore was all the rage back then at comic shops. It's easy to make. Look, I make fun of him now, too. He deserves it. He's a total loon, says dumbass shit, whatever. But back then, if you were walking around if you were involved in comics, buying comics in my case, a young adult, I was, when I first heard about it, I was like 21 years old I was almost 22 when it first hit. There were only 2 issues of Watchmen out when I cosplayed Rorschach. Yes, I was not the man I am now. I was like 5 times less the man I am now. But I cosplayed Rorschach at Dallas Fantasy Fair in 1986. And my friend cosplayed, my friend Minimus cosplayed Captain Carnage, a character that was only mentioned and not shown. And so there were 2 issues of the comic out at that point. So maybe I may have been the first person ever to cosplay Rorschach. It was a shitty costume, but at the time we had fun. So, Clobby, let's see. Oliver says, Clobby, how about reviewing the Marvel 2-in-1 comics of The Thing in his team up with Doctor Strange, Iron Fist, Giant Man, and Jack of Hearts? Well, that's a good idea. We're going to be doing more and more 2-in-1. I've wanted to do 2-in-1. We did one of the 2-in-1 annuals, Oliver. I'm trying to remember this. I know he's teamed up with all of them. Was there one where those are all individual team ups? But yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to those. We were gonna, in fact, a couple of years back, these things get away from you sometimes. I remember I was talking to Mark D, and we were that's a good point, Wagner. I'll get to that in a second. We were thinking maybe we would start reviewing Marvel 2-in-1 from the beginning, and all right, Maddie's daddy, good to see you there, buddy. Take care, bro. We decided to. Then we read the first issue, and it was so weird. We're like, man, the writing. It was by Steve Gerber. It was a weirdo sometimes. The writing of the Thing, of the character of the Thing, is really awful. He's really such a jerk in this comic. It says Ravenscroft says, Clobby, I quoted that work for a long time, wrote essays about it. That thing really made me think about a lot of things, all from a comic book. Watchmen was that way. Alan Moore's work was that way. It made a lot of people think. Alan Moore made this, he poo-poos on his own work now. And I see a lot of people popping up like all over social media and acting like he was never in, because of the way he's acting like a jerk now. Just, all saying, those books, those writing was never any good anyway. It was never, Watchmen really was never like, can't we just admit it's not any good? No, I won't admit it's not any good. Because I won't admit a lie. I'll admit you don't like it if you don't. But even though a lot of my views have altered since then, that was an astounding piece of work, and it was an extraordinary time to be a comic book reader. It's brilliant storytelling between him and especially and Dave Gibbons. And it also is sourced where he definitely uses a lot of different sources for a story. I mean, if you want to say ripped off, fine. More ripped off a lot, but innovative with it a lot also. Those words, I did it 35 minutes ago, chilled me to my core. We were so spoiled then. Watchmen, Dark Knight Returns, these books changed comics and their cultural touchstones. True. They changed them in ways that I would argue didn't turn out to be so good for comics. Nevertheless, doesn't make them a bad comic. It's because you can't. Moore liked to take the blame. He felt guilty. Miller didn't feel guilty, it seems. But all they were doing was trying to make an interesting story and make a statement. I mean, Moore's Marvel / Miracle Man was ingenious and brilliant too, and it didn't have anywhere the backlash or I guess it was more disturbing than Watchmen. But it wasn't as big either. So this one, Guagnar, thank you. Speaking of Marvel 2, Project Pegasus is definitely one I want to review soon. I love Project Pegasus. I love it. Laura says, agree. Born Again, Squadron Supreme, same year. Yep, Born Again, we have reviewed. My buddy Nick Weiser and I have reviewed that one. And we had a great time. True, I also was reading Moore's Miracle Man back then. I still have my original issue 15, which hits almost as hard as Watchmen. I would say it, to me, I kind of think it hits harder in a sense. I would have to say that Miracle Man number 15, without a doubt, hit me harder in so many ways, more than it's to me the single most disturbing comic book, superhero comic book I've ever read in my life. You can't find one that had any more brutal, shocking, in a good way because it's brilliant, effect on me as a comic book that chilled me down to my bone than that. Number 15, Alan Moore's Miracle Man, number 15, Eclipse Comics, 1980, 8 years, I believe. It had been almost a year since the previous issue. I did have my shop at the time. None of us knew what to expect. I couldn't wait to read it. That's something I don't think I could ever review on this show. I can't even show it. No one's you could. I don't care the bloodiest, most gory, anything you want to call it. See, comic doesn't measure up to how disturbing that comic was. Again, it may be a personal thing. It may be the kind of thing you had to be, you kind of be there kind of thing. That sort of stuff could be. But I can just tell you that it just I mean, it tore me to pieces. And I don't mean that in so much a negative way. It was brutal, but I was just blown away that someone could make me feel these things and yet still challenge my imagination the way he did. Ravenscroft said, I really appreciate your ability to put aside his personal views, etc., and still are able to see the genius underneath. Far too many can't do that. Well, thank you, Ravens. Look, man brought me, I mean, in the 80s and through parts of the 90s, he did so much stuff. I was such a fan of his. There was nothing I would not buy with his name on it. And I still to this day, love all that work. And I used to want to, I toyed with writing a book about him and stuff, and just didn't do it. I'm not, I just got doing other things, but I thought about it. But I stand by my love of his work from the early days of it, which I had in one way or another. I own everything he ever wrote that he started out writing until about 2000 or something like that, when I stopped buying some of the stuff he started doing. But all throughout the night, everything he did in the 90s, all of it's in my collection, all of it, up until right after Promethea, which I think Promethea kind of fell off with. But his personal views, none of them were really like that when he was writing most of these comics. They developed for some reason much later. And I'm disgusted by a lot of the things he has said. That will never. I mean, if he's not out really actually physically hurting anybody, I'll just chalk it up to him being nuts. And I can still, like any other artist, unless they're like, I mean, maybe like if someone wrote something I really loved, and then they went out and did something absolutely physically horrible to somebody, it might change a little bit. But if they just have dumb views that are, in my opinion, dumb, I can still like their work. I'll joke about them, though. I'll mention them, but good, what a dumbass. But I'll still say, but man, great stuff that they did. That's the way I always try to be. Thank you. So you need to read 1 through 14, which led up to 15. If you do, 15 hits like a punch. Oh, yeah, 15's. And the thing is, I waited forever because Marvel Man was in the back of Warrior magazine first, Quality magazine in the 80s, such as which was so was V for Vendetta and so on. And then when that got canceled, Eclipse picked it up and they reprinted it up until a certain point. But Moore got really busy and he wasn't able to do much with it, and so there would be year gaps between issues of it. It was it felt like, if I remember correctly, a year gap between or more between issue 14 and 15, and the same deal with 16 as well, the last issue we did. But yeah, I read them all, loved them all, and I didn't even mind that he had to change his name to Miracle Man. I understood that. Hey, Captain Infinity, what's up, buddy? I'm sorry to make you real like that, pal. Let's see. His V for Vendetta was pretty good too. V for Vendetta was never my favorite of his personally. It was interesting. That was one where he did become a political activist. There were some interesting things about the comic. I can find something interesting even though I don't agree with it. And he was very, very super political in that as well. The character was interesting though. A lot of the stuff about the guy, V was thick. The problem was again also was reading it, then it stopped. And it didn't end in Warrior magazine. And eventually DC managed to pick it up and reprint it. And they printed it in the regular comic format with the higher quality paper. And then the last two, they let Moore finish the last couple of chapters. So it was the regular issue. Everyone just sees the trade paperback out there, the hardcover. But there were floppies, although in high quality paper. And then when it got to issue like 8 or so, there were reprints after that. There were reprints up until that. Then Moore finished the story. So that was unfinished for a long time. And, but yeah, it was something. Let's see here. I'm trying to catch up to these folks. Let's see. Miracle Man super nauseating images, but look, oh man. John Totalman and with Steve Bissett. And, R says, Clobby, I feel Miracle Man 15 doesn't hit as hard as Watchmen because there's still a good V evil story in Watchmen, so less clear, and the ending less hopeful. And then 15 is superhero epic horror. It is. But see, I grew up, I guess why I feel it was more disturbing. RR is because I grew up reading, Superman and Captain Marvel and Spider-Man, all these superhero comics, with the understanding is, even as a kid, they're fairy tales. They're not real. This was the first time on a visual level and on an intellectual level you were forced to look at what if, because there have been a lot of grim, even at that point, there have been some grim stories of comics and whatnot. But what if someone of Superman's power level, Captain Marvel, same deal, was the Joker level evil, like Johnny Bates. Johnny Bates, Kid Miracle Man, he had the Joker morality. In other words, not Dr. Doom, not some baddie that had some sort of semblance of honor or decency. Someone of pure evil. And they have the Superman level powers. And they're left alone because of the arrogant heroes are prancing around like gods somewhere. And they leave them alone for a couple hours. Real Wade Nation gaming clips. What would the Joker do if he could just get to do whatever he wanted? That kind of evil. And he had, because remember, I used the Joker because the Joker's chaos. To him, he could just kill you for a punchline. He doesn't have to have any big plans. He just wants to do something as nasty as it can so he could piss Batman off. In this case, Johnny Bates was pretty infuriated about being trapped in infraspace by Mike Moran, by Miracle Man, and he was throwing a temper tantrum. And what he does to London and the graphics of that horror are something I never thought I would see in any superhero comic. It may be passe now to people. More brilliantly, and of course, so did Steve Bissett and John Totalman, the artists. John Totalman was amazing. They explicitly and brilliantly showed a horror that I never thought I would see in my life, and I certainly don't want to see it again, but it was so well done and so brutal. What would somebody of that evil level do with Superman powers? It's never, and to be that frank with it, to be that graphic with it, was just, people after that have tried to top it and do disgusting and gross things. They'll never do it. They'll never come close. Because anything they do, it'll just be no one did anything in mainstream comics, and this was close to mainstream comics. It was direct sales, but it was Eclipse. It was close enough to mainstream, and Alan Moore was a mainstream name. No one will ever do anything. You can try to top it and do all kind of gross shit you want now. No one had ever done that before it, and anything else you do after it, no matter how spectacularly violent or graphic you make it, it just won't have the same effect. It was a one-time deal to have that effect, and it was astounding. Ravenscroft says, "Did you read Jerusalem?" No, I never did. I kind of wanted to. I can tell you this: there's a great YouTuber. Anyone remember Comic Girl 19? If anyone knows who she is, she's pretty cool, and she reviews comics. He read it, and she's crazy. I love her, by the way. She reviewed Jerusalem. You never really need to read the book. Go watch her review. It's a long, epic review. And yeah, you will. That's all you need. I found her after her review. I had no desire ever to read the book again. I mean, I never even thought about when I'm trying to buy it and read it. I never bought it, and I used to buy everything Moore did. But I did enjoy her review so much. I'm like, wow, that's all I need ever. And she reviewed it, and she wasn't in. I'm not saying she trashed it. Yeah. So let me. I'm a little behind on these chats. I'm trying to get to as much as I can here. I'm still reeling from Clubby's rant about time travel. I'm sorry, Finity. Captain Infinity, Temperus Maximus, we all exist. You exist. You all exist. Nobody else exists but you guys. You all do. Let's see. Who is this Alan Moore guy? I don't know. Alan Moore doesn't exist. Yeah. Clobby, I'm a big Gaiman fan, but I didn't like his Miracle Man work at all. Ditto. Well, I'm not much of a fan of him anyway, but I did not like his Miracle Man at all either. I'm with you there. Didn't they kind of rip off Brightburn with wasn't that Brightburn? I've never seen it, but I hear it's kind of a rip off of some of that stuff. It's a lot of stuff is ripped off from what Moore did, and just like he ripped a lot of people off too. Moore ripped a lot of people off of some of his stuff. Don't let it fool you. Ezra says, "What is the name of this comic book?" Ezra, the one I was talking about that was so shocking, it's Alan Moore's Miracle Man. Initially, it was Marvel Man in the back of a mag called Quality, a Quality magazine comics called a Brit mag called by a company called Quality, I should say. Sorry, called Warrior Magazine. Then later, because when Alan Moore came to fame, they brought the character over into the States, Eclipse Comics, but in the States they couldn't call him Marvel Man anymore, so they had to change his name to Miracle Man. Since then, in many later printings and the trade paperbacks, Alan Moore, or even comic reprints, Alan Moore's taken his name off of it, but it's called Miracle Man, and there you'll see the credit will say written by the original author. It won't say Alan. Won't say Alan Moore. He said, I took one name on any Marvel comics again, you bloody bleeding fuckers. So you can all just take my name off of this comic and give my money to look some worthy cover. Give my money to some bum in the street for all I care. I hate Marvel comics. And I hate DC comics. As a matter of fact, I hate everyone who reads comics. If you read superhero comics, you're a fascist. And I hate you. You fascist pig. Or I wish you'd never create this Rorschach. Well, Alan, you ripped off Rorschach from Steve Ditko's Mr. A. It was going to be a question knockoff, but he acts more like Mr. A. Well, yeah, but Steve Ditko's a fascist too. He was. So, you're all bloody fascist. And that's just the way it is. Not you anymore. Yes, Marvel Man artist Gary Leach. Yeah, I loved Gary Leach. Yep, he did pass away, unfortunately. Taught me comics at LCP. Oh, really? Wow. Man was an artistic genius. Yeah, Gary Leach was fantastic. I'm with you there, buddy. Our buddy Mark D with a C found a copy of Royer magazine #1 in a box about a year or so ago. DVB, welcome. Where did Clobberin? It's look, yeah, Clobberin's a basis, so I'll find him and I've taken over Clobberin times now. I hope you don't mind, everyone. Now, let's really talk about good stuff. Geek stuff is for idiots. You're all a bunch of bloody precious. If you're reading superhero comics, you should go screw yourself. Don't like you. Let's read good comics. What? Wait, I'm sorry. There are no good comics. I don't like comics anymore. If you read comics, you're a putz and you're bollocks, and I don't like you. So there. Hello, Captain Darkness. Yes. What's up? I'm sorry. So, who wants me to continue to host this show for Clubby while he's out? He's probably out being a fascist somewhere, look, oppressing people or something. Look, he always does. People are always being oppressed when Clubby's around. Have you noticed that? Yes, look. And on the subject of time travel, Captain Infinity, let me tell you something. Clobby doesn't exist, so he doesn't get to make bloody laws about time travel. I do. And I'll say time travel is for fascists. What do you think about that? And then more, let's see. More borrowed evidence from Michael Moorcock. Michael Moorcock was a fascist. I think Moorcock mentioned this, but didn't mind. Moorcock said Grant Morrison ripped him off for Invisibles, though. Yeah, Grant Morrison ripped everybody off, including me. Yeah, he's a bloody bastard, Grant Morrison. I'll bait him in the head with my hammer and sickle, the fascist. Hey, he loves animals too. You know what? He's a bloody weirdo. Well, I'm a weirdo, but I'm a wizard too. So, yeah. Yes. You run this bloody super chat through anymore. I hope you all never read more comics again. In fact, I hope you all burn my comics. Take your comics out in the backyard and burn them with your fascists. You're all a bunch of people reading superhero comics or idiots. Don't like you anymore. I hope you just burn all your comics. Yeah. I'll burn your comics if I could. I might come round your flat and take your loan boxes out and piss on them. Or you like them apples, Charlie? They don't look fat fuckheads made of orange rocks saying Clobberin time and all this bloody nonsense. I didn't, I wrote Swamp Thing. What about it? Swamp Thing was garbage. I didn't like that either. And all those Superman comics, those were bloody rubbish that I wrote. Everything I wrote was rubbish. Even I don't like him. So you shouldn't like him either. TNZ, the Wachowski siblings ripped off Grant Morrison's Invisibles for the Matrix. So it all balances out. Actually, I heard that, yeah, they did rip it off. Yes, yeah. I hate you all for liking comic books. Comic books destroyed my life, mate. If without comics, I'd be in Olympus by now. And then there would be time travel. If I were calling the shots in Olympus, I would create time travel. And I would go back in time and erase all of us. And then start a whole new universe where nobody is a fascist but me. I mean, nobody's a fascist. Yeah, that's right. You're just a bunch of bloody fascists. Yeah. More pronouns are I by I don't exist. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to turn the show back over to that fascist Clubby because he's being mean to me right now, calling me names and shit. All right, Alan, get your ass out of here and go back to Olympus or whatever, you stupid ass. But I let you talk. You got to say your piece, stupid though it was. And now you don't exist. Because I'm tired of people. You know, there's one thing I can't stand is that people who exist. Existing is for fascists. Oh, you can't even say that word. I'm sorry. Fascist. Let's see, fascist. That's my. The Eddie Miller says it doesn't even sound like fascist. Fascist. He's a fascist. You're all a bunch of fascists, I guess. Because more. Look, I love it. I love him, but he's the asshole that when he said when people walk up to him and say they love Rorschach, he thinks they mean that they want to be fascist. He's the one. He said you're not supposed to love him. You're supposed to hate him. Everybody loves the character of Rorschach. It doesn't make you. It doesn't mean you. First of all, it doesn't make you politically in line with him or make you a fascist. And Rorschach's not even a fascist. He's extreme. He's crazy. He kills people, but he doesn't really run. Let me say he would kill. I can't even the guy rhymes with Shitler or any other neo Yahtzee. He wouldn't like them either. Rorschach just kills anybody that's bad. He thinks is bad. He's not a fascist. I should say. I'm sorry, I gotta say. You don't even know what a fascist is, Alan. Yeah, exactly, John Lama. I love Darth Vader. He's a great character. You don't want to be in the Empire and killing people. Like, it's so child. A guy capable of writing on the level he wrote, which was amazing, is so simplistic and childish. He thinks if you like the character of Rorschach, you don't understand that you shouldn't run around emulating him. He's not a fascist. Rorschach's not a fascist. And I am purposely trying to get not in trouble with the algorithm by pronouncing that word properly. But Alan Moore calls everybody a fascist. Face sitters. There you go, Glenn Ron. It's like a child. Anyone to the right of him or anyone who disagrees with him politically is a freaking fascist. It's so stupid. It's like, dude, no, Rorschach's a great character. And you derived him from Steve Ditko. He's supposed to be the stand-in for the Question, and yet you made him even more like Steve Ditko's Mr. A. But he's cool. He's a great character. A great character doesn't mean you want to be like the freaking character. Nevertheless, it's kind of funny when he what he did to those child murderer, the child murderer in your comic book that you wrote. Yeah, Rorschach doesn't like authority at all. And he doesn't even know he doesn't care about, he doesn't use government to control people like Fascist does. Moore's Promethea is pretentious nonsense. Now that I agree, I did not like Promethea at all. And a lot of people really did. I respect them. But whereas his Necronomicon and Providence related comments are Lovecraftian ideas mixed with literal, porn, really vile stuff. You feel slimy. Yeah, I couldn't. I tried with Necronomicon, and then I didn't bother with Providence. I can't remember which one was first, but they were just. And not only that, his League of Extraordinary Gentlemen later stuff was horrible too. I mean, it was absolutely. It was Black Dossier is unreadable to me. I want to use that thing to beat my own face in. I couldn't even buy it. I tried to read a friend's copy of it. Hey, not everyone can be born with a face down with fascism. It's the left-wing definition of fascist. Yeah, that's right, John Malama. That's pretty much. But he did everything he did in the 2000s. It was just disgusting. And it started with Promethea. He also did Voodoo or something. I couldn't. And Promethea was for ABC. I liked some of his ABC comics work. I enjoyed the first couple of years of Tom Strong. Tomorrow Stories. And Top 10 was pretty good. Yep, DVB, the blank had no face. The blank. Yeah. But yeah, so he did, and I loved his Supreme. I loved his 1963. Love a lot of the man's work. But now he would think I'm a monstrous fascist because because I don't know why. I guess because I like superhero comics. That he said superhero comics are all fascist. Why? Why are they fascist? You can say they suck, or they're childish, or you can label. There were certain criticisms you can level at them if you don't like them. But there's something wrong with adults reading them. He hates that because what? Again, he's a busybody. He's the fascist. He's concerned about what you do for entertainment. He thinks you're a bad person if you enjoy a freaking superhero movie. Hey, shut up, Alan. I mean, some of them are okay. Some of them suck. They're entertainment, dude. It doesn't make you a political. He's insane. I'm sorry, he really is. It doesn't make you like a. You're gonna go out and start. You're gonna go start out depressing people because you watched the freaking Iron Man movie. So what? You watch the Avengers. You're gonna go out and put people in camps that you concentrate in now, I guess. You enjoyed watching Downfall? Oh my God, Captain Finnerty, you don't exist anymore. But if you did, you would be not a fascistness. You do exist though. I enjoyed watching Hogan's Heroes. I'm a fascist. If you enjoyed watching an Avengers movie, to him, you're destroying the world. I mean, guy's nuts, man. I'm sorry. He deserves everything he gets with the criticism because he keeps coming out and saying you notice how he needs it. This is a guy that claims he doesn't need anything and doesn't like money, but every time he wants attention, he comes out and says something stupid by calling people fascists. If you read, I'm glad people walk up to him and say they like Rorschach because it pisses him off. People they're complimenting Alan. They're complimenting you on your work. They like something you wrote. They're not saying they want to go out and be Rorschach and strangle people. They think Rorschach's well-written character. He's really cool. He's not cool, you fascist. You're not cool either, Alan. You're the one that wrote him. So. I mean, he wrote. Now, I do remember there were some signs of this. I remember that interview he did. I was telling you all about this interview he did in 1985 that was leading up to Watchmen. He was talking about Watchmen. He did say something like, "I do like to do my comics that put morals and messages in there for I could preach to the young people and stuff." I can't remember how he worded it. Captain Finnerty says, What is the deal with limey writers and their precious curmudgeonness? I don't think it's just the limeys, buddy. I think plenty of us Yanks got writers like that too. I know he hates Morrison. Moore and Morrison don't like each other. Ravenscroft says, "I liked Rorschach, you fascist, because at the core, he was a human being, brilliantly written and deeply flawed, but also in some ways admirable." And yeah, and there's another thing. Alan Moore, the character of Walter J. Kovacs, had a tragic story. He was crazy, yes, but there was depth and nuance and human pathos in this character that you brilliantly wrote called Rorschach. Why did you give him all of that depth? And then say if someone, responds to that, they're a fascist. I don't understand. That's one thing I never understand about artists, as in writers or whatever. They can be capable of such brilliance and depth in their creations on the one hand, and then come away with an inability to understand basic nuances in life. Alan Moore was not someone you ever perceived when you would hear him talk in the old days as someone of a dim bulb. He always seemed like a smart cookie. He always seemed very intelligent. He always seemed, maybe he really just burned his brain out or something. I don't know. He's older than me by considerably, I guess. But every time, when you would see interviews with him or read interviews with him, they were always amazing. And and then he would get political, and you go, "Oh, just shut up! You don't know what you're talking about there." But that's fine. Everybody has political differences. I don't agree with him. I don't need to agree with him to enjoy his work or to praise his work. But when he's coming out into the press every couple of years, every couple times a year, it seems like, and saying something silly. Now, a lot of it's the press dragging stuff up, probably. But he says something dopey, like, leave that man alone. He's not, I don't think he's even responsible for what he says anymore. Now, our art, let's see. He says, volume 1 of Extraordinary Gentlemen is good. I'll agree with that. 2 is well written, but nasty. Oh boy, is it nasty. Oh my God, 2 is really just messed up. But after it's taking place on an acid trip while being repeatedly whipped with a wet towel that's been soaked in piss. That's a good one. Good one, R. Yeah, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Part 2 is freaking disturbing. 50 says, yeah, that's weird because I adore Moore and Morrison. It's Gaiman that I can't stand. I'm pretty much with you there. I tell you, just like I love Moore's work, but I get mad at the way he acts in real life. Morrison, I'm love-hate with. I love some of his work and hate some of his work. Gaiman, I got to be honest with you, Cap. I can't think of one comic he's done that I care about. I have friends who love his stuff. I respect it. He seems like a nice guy, too, from things I don't know if he is or not. Might be a nice fellow. But I can't name you anything that he's done that I love. I mean, I can name you Morrison stuff that I love, and even hate. I can't name you too much more stuff that I hate, but I love a lot. But so I love most of it. And both of them act like dumbasses to each other, you know. Meaning their work. I don't like actual people, of course. No, I understand that. Well, people don't exist, so you don't have to like them. If they existed, they might, you know. But if people ever start existing, then you still shouldn't like them, I guess. But proof that Moore is a hypocrite is that he did one of those writing masterclasses videos. Oh yeah, obviously for the money. I lost all respect for him as a person at that point. I still respect his genius. I respect his artistic ability, and that's about it. Gaiman trolled me on Twitter. F him, and his original point was weak. He came after me on Twitter once too. He was a dumbass. Maybe he is a dumbass. There you go. Gaiman was a nice person. He introduced me to Lynn Wein at San Diego. Okay, well, Wagner said he was nice. There you go. You know, everyone has different experiences to go by. My girlfriend bought me The Mindscape of Alan Moore. I enjoyed it. I guess I'm not as angry at him as I am disappointed, but he still wrote some of the best comics ever. I agree. Again, I'm more like, it's like, since I've loved his work so much, it's more like an anger, but a sadness, because I'm sad that he cracked up so bad. Oh, absolutely, Shooter. No one ever said you had to like somebody to respect their work. No, that's absolutely right. But Gaiman acquired the woke mind virus. Oh yeah, well, that's a shame. The woke mind virus is a terrible thing. And yeah, if you, well, so did Moore. Moore has it. Moore has it big time. And Morrison's always had it. Most, I can still love the old work. The old art, the old art versus artist debate. That's the great thing about Brie Larson. Her acting sucks, and so does her personality. There you go. Yeah, not very nice, is she? Met Gaiman, really nice guy. A couple of issues of Sandman are brilliant. Dream of 1,000 Cats, but he's never. But he's a better novelist. Try Nevermore or American Gods. Gotcha. Yeah, as far as comics, Morrison, for example, he's been kind of the things I love most by Grant Morrison are not that in many in number, but I love his first 26 issue run on Animal Man is brilliant in my opinion. Love it, love it, love it. I love All Star Superman. Love it. And I think there may be some other stuff he's done that I love, but I can't really, honestly, can't think of that much right now. And there may be some other stuff, but outliers. R says, Liked Gaiman's Eternals and had pleasant Twitter chat with me. There you go. Oh, good. What could cure the woke virus? A brain enema, tiger blood, simple tap water. I liked his WE3 miniseries. WE3 miniseries. I'll tell you, Morrison may have done more as much standout bad as he's done standout good for me personally. For example, Final Crisis is one of the worst pieces of dog shit I've ever read. Final Crisis is garbage. I mean, it was wow. Then what else did he do? I can't stand. Batman R.I.P. sucks. Sorry. And yes, I read it. I can't tell you why. He never could. I don't like the way he writes Batman. A lot of people do, but I don't like it. I'll admit I can't think of much else that I've read of more. Oh, I read his X-Men run with Quietly. I didn't like it. Morris's Doom Patrol was very good. I liked his JLA. I have to watch that. I hear you, Raven. I couldn't get into his Doom Patrol. I did try that. Never read Invisibles. I have friends of mine that did that said yes, he was ripping off a lot of stuff. Didn't the Matrix rip off the Invisibles though? Yeah. Wagner and my friend disagree about Gaiman and woke virus. He was writing about I can't say those words. In the 80s, he was ahead of the curve. He was woke in an authentic way before the current nonsense. I heard his Sandman show was woke, but I'll never know because I don't care about Sandman. But I have very many dear friends that love his stuff. I didn't like his Miracle Man at all. That's what I didn't like. He just stopped doing it. But a lot of people loved his Doom Patrol. Like I said, I loved his Animal Man, though. My goodness. I need to go back on. I might go back to that. I might go back to reviewing. I might review Morrison's Animal Man run. 26 issues, so it will take some time. Oh, yeah, look, there's no question about it. Gaiman's a wokey woke. Mike Rowe was writing sexually diverse characters in a mature way, and John Sable freelance back in 1983. Yes, sir. Man, I love John Sable. I need to go back and read those, Finity. And I've been fortunate enough to meet Mr. Grell a couple times. Nice man. He's a friend of a friend of mine, and so I got to talk to him a little bit. I love Iron Mike Grell. Bumped into him a few times. Good dude. And I love John Sable. Obviously I love his Legion of Superheroes work, but I wasn't the biggest on Warlord. It was an okay book. I liked it. Don't get me wrong. But John Sable's my favorite that he did. And I kind of like Longbow Hunters. Green Arrow Longbow Hunters. So yeah, good stuff. Grell was great. Let's see here. How about Mike Barron's original run of Nexus? Amazing classic superhero comic with him with Steve Rude. Yeah, I have those when they first came out. Suddenly I had, but I didn't have them all. I remember they had a Nexus book and record by Capitol. But I bought it from time to time. Now I got a friend of mine has all of it, every single Nexus, all of it that he did. I think Barron's still doing stuff with Nexus too. Yeah, Mike Barron's an awesome dude. Wrote a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, nice guy. And he's a nice fellow. Prolific, man. Oh, is he prolific too? Florida Man. He does a comic called Florida Man. Florida Man does whatever the Florida state can. So anyway. But I think that, man, Animal Man, man, oh man. I might have to go back to Animal Man. I haven't thought of that in ages. Ages. Holy crapple nuts. Let me see here. What's with you? I can't type for crap. There we go. Yeah, but only the first 26 issues, of course. There you go. Anyone else reading Morrison's Animal Man? In the chill of night. Let's see. About Netflix, saying, man, a lot of it was bad, but the Diner episode 24/7 is the best hour of psychological horror on TV you'll ever see, says RTNZ. Gotcha. I stand under. I hear you. Let's see. Did anyone read this run of Animal Man? Wow. Guess not, huh? Those Brian Boland covers. 1988. Well, suppose not. My goodness. Well, it was different. Vertigo. Truly the most, off the wall superhero comic I've ever read. Leather jacket and spandex. Yeah, that's fashion. Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was such a. I don't even know how he got his own title. I don't know why they did this title. Wagner didn't like it. I tell you what, I loved. Again, it took me a while to get used to it. I got it recommended to me by issue like number 5. It is bizarre. It's insane. It's so crazy. I want to go back and read it again see if it has the same effect on me. It's different. It's very different. Yeah. Tried Jeff Lemire's Spew 52 Animal Man, worst art I've ever seen I've seen decades, says Ravenscroft. Oh, I got you. Oliver Belamonte says, Clobby, will you and Mark review any vintage Marvel and DC figures like Secret Wars, Superpowers, and Mego superheroes? It would be interesting if we look back on the toys that defined our lives. Any reviews? Well, we do look at them. We do look at these from time to time. There's nothing planned, but Mark, I'll ask Mark about that because he has a lot of those toys and he's shown them a lot. As far as reviewing them, I've never really engaged in reviewing toys so much. I have a whole bunch of figures, but you never know, Oliver. That's a good point. Mark does, like on his channel, he does builds and stuff, and he does talk about toys and a lot of stuff. But I guess it could happen. You never know. I never really thought about it. I review comics and shows and stuff here. Remember that cover? Never picked it up, and then maybe I'll read it in the class. But yeah, it's what's it? DC Comics. DC was giving every character under the sun a title back in the he's a weird character to give a title to, definitely. But yeah, it was an insane book. You might read it and go, "What the hell is this?" It had the art I was never super fond of personally. It fit just enough, but it was kind of weird. It was kind of not that great, but it fit the story. Even though snow is likely to prevent me from going to work tomorrow, I should head out, folks. Take care. Hope to see you all again soon. Ravenscroft, thank you, my friend. Feel better. Thank you. Thank you. Das Wolfen, hey there. Good to see you. Is that snake flying? I guess he must be. Every cover was by Brian Boland. Every cover. Yeah. I think it was issue 5 that got everyone's attention because everyone was kind of like, what is this comic? Why is there an Animal Man? Nobody cares about Animal Man. Then this issue right here, issue number 5, got so much attention. It won awards. It freaked everybody out. It was disturbing and puzzling and all that stuff. Das Woman says, one of my friends was a huge Animal Man fan. I found the character to be annoying and pretentious. I don't know. I loved him in this book. John Joe. Woke virus. Hey, John Joe. Welcome to Clobberin Times. I don't think I've seen you here before. Good to see you. So this issue here was the one. I mean, I was, in fact, I had my shop at the time, and I was I don't think I was buying the book yet, and a buddy of mine was buying it, and then I started hearing people going just crazy about this issue. And I won't spoiler why in case any of you ever do read it, but makes me want to go back and read it. Yeah. So it's Animal Man number 5, but crazy cover. Clobby, the gateway story for Morrison's Animal Man. What to be? Yeah, that's this issue right here. Coyote Gospel. If you get that, you'll like the run. If not, it's not for you. That's a very good point. Coyote Gospel is the name of this issue, and it struck me when I got it. So yeah, that's very well said, and I agree. RR, that's exactly right. This was the issue that got me hooked, and then went back and got the other ones and stayed with it until Morrison left the series. As soon as he left that, and after that, the only other thing Morrison did that I loved was All-Star Superman. So I thank him for that. And so before I wrap it up, I want to say that I think someone mentioned an idea that I've been wanting to do for a while and keep forgetting, that I'm going to put on this year's ballot for review. What am I doing? I already had this saved. Area. I'm going to do a Marvel 2-in-1 saga. Yep, Deathlok. There we go. I'm going to do Project Pegasus. Been meaning to do that for a while. So that's another one I need to write down that I can do. So that's going to happen this year. And why not? Well, my friends, I'm going to start wrapping things up here. Because I've been on twice tonight, and I appreciate y'all hanging out with me, talking about nothing in particular. You've all been fantastic. It's great to have you popping in and hanging out with me. I do love it, do appreciate it. So, let's see here. Let me do some show notes, then we'll do some shouty outies, shall we? Let's see. All right. So, let's see here. Again, thanks to the great J-Man for hanging out with me earlier on Earth B. We had a lot of fun doing that, and we've got our next one set up already, so we're looking forward to that. Next Monday night, and the other Monday nights of this month, I'll be back on J-Man's channel on Monday nights reviewing Legion of Superheroes, Silver through Bronze, all of it with Sean and J-Man. Tuesday, Thursday nights, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time at the great Tom Connor's Midnight's Edge After Dark over there. And then, on Wednesday nights, when he has it, I'll be at the roundtable at 7 o'clock, Loki's roundtable. And then there is Wild Card Wednesday night. I'll be here Wednesday night, being wild and having a card. Who knows? Might have a guest pop in, or it might just be me. We'll see. Then the Clubhouse, also 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, like all of my shows here on this channel. Clobby's Clubhouse returns, of course, with my wonderful first officer, number 1, Raquel, and the great chief engineer himself, Mark D with a C, with another Blake 7 review and a new Star Trek comic review that we're going to start this week. So we're all looking forward to that. Then Friday night, it's over there at the Great J-Man's channel for Frank on Friday. Friday Frankness, free for all Friday, whatever we're going to call it. The great Sean joins J-Man and myself on the J-Man's amazing channel, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, reviewing the entire classic Frank Miller Daredevil run. All of it. Going to take some time. We're going to do it. We're going to get it done, baby. And then later that night, my good buddy 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser has his great august group of young, amazing young fellers. The Comic Shop Boys for Comic Shop Talk. Friday night Comic Shop Talk. That is 8:30 Central Standard Time. And I usually hang out with those buddies over there, and they're great ones. And then, same Trek time, 9 p.m., same Trek time, same Clubby channel. Saturday night Star Trek. Continuing our ongoing mission to review all of real Star Trek 66 through 05, 735 Club. 4 more episodes from season 4 of Star Trek Voyager. Thanks you all who hung out with us this past Saturday night. Had a blast. Such great fun. So, and then of course, Sunday night we cap it off on the great Mark D with the C's channel, the Steve Engineer's channel, with Sunday Night Geekery. It was great fun last night. We'll have fun again this upcoming Sunday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And he might even have some eatery for you. You never know. So let's see here. Some shout outs. We'll get you all shouted out because the way we roll over here. Eric K, Chris Persia, D Bud Martin, buddy, Lord Thoth, J-Man, Maddie's Daddy, Kal-El, Fandy Outsider, Hungry Boy, Maximum Redstone. And let me see what great friends are here in the chat with me tonight. Shooter, thanks for being here, buddy. Oh, what's that? We have to review these Voyager episodes, Clobby. Do we have to? They're becoming a chore to watch. I'm sorry, buddy. We got to get through it, man. Clobby, issue 5 is heartbreaking at best. At his best, Morrison can make you feel characters' joys and pains. It was great, yeah. I love that issue too. Let's see here. Linrod, thanks for being here. Full season behind on the reviews. Oh, I got you. But Linrod, good to see you anyway. Thank you for being here. Das Wolfman, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. John Joe, hello again. Thank you for being here. Ravenscroft, thank you so much. Jamalama, thank you. Son Lee, thank you for being here. Oliver Belamonte, thank you. Captain Infinity Tempest Temperus Maximus, sorry. You exist, and thank you for existing. Gwagnar, thanks, buddy. Scroll. Skidoo DVB, thank you. Scroll. Still scrolling. Ezra Goldstein, shalom, my friend. Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips, thank you. I got some more scrolling to do. Maddie's daddy, I already said shout you up, but why not again? Maddie's daddy, buddy. Thank you. Larry. Oh, I'm glad I saw Larry's name. Larry, I got to write something down. Okay. I had to write a note to myself. Sorry. All right, trying to get everybody shouted out, folks. Sometimes it takes me a while to get to a name that I haven't shouted out yet, such as Zachariah, John Shaggy Rupas, Keely Chow, Roll That Tide. Thank you so much for being here. Almost there. Focals, Penny, the lovely Penny was here. Love you, Pennies. Dave C. All right, the Dave Seer, man. Almost there. Stay on target. Almost there. You're too close. Picasso. Claude Salling. Oh, now almost back. FKHC 2005, my friend, and that does be everybody, I do believe. Oh, I got a super chat. Oh my goodness, almost didn't see it. RRTNZ, thank you so much for that. You're too kind, my friend. Says thank you for hosting this fantastic stream, Clobby. Well, you're welcome, and thank you for those kind words. Love the depth and passion of the discussion. Cheers and good night. Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper to you, sir. My friend, thank you for that. You're too kind. I really appreciate the generosity of all of you. Appreciate you all so much. If you lurked tonight, thank you so much for lurking. I really appreciate that as well. If you're watching on a download or a rewatch, thank you. So good night, everybody, my good friends. I'll see you out there on the streams. Hope to see you Wednesday night and beyond that, of course. Until then, though, have a wonderful week. Take care, my dear friends. Trek on, buddies. And clobber on, too.
Clobberin time! Clobberanimo!
Groovy.
I just love clobbering time.